You're welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Joey Sparks. That's 2E's, no Y. You heard me, 2E's, no Y. And this is a behind the scenes breakdown / review of how I directed and edited the Vet Life music video, Mind Gone. If you're ready to see the behind the scenes, then let me know. But first, you know I gotta play my intro. Yo. Coffee sip. Yo. Yo. Bang. Welcome back, guys. Before we get started, please do me a favor, like, comment on all the content, preferably as soon as it comes out. It helps me and I appreciate you. Also, if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm a music videographer, a videographer in general. And on this channel, that's how I do reacts. That's how I do BTS reviews. I even got unboxings and interviews. You should hit the subscribe button, make friends in the comments, become family by following that Discord link in the description. Over there on our Discord, you get tapped in. You know when we're going live, what themes the live are, and you get to know me better over there. So I would suggest following that Discord link and become part of the family, okay? All right, and without further ado, guys, let's go through some behind the scenes of how I created the Mind Gone music video by Vet Life. Now, first and foremost, before we get started, I'm not sure if you've seen the video, so I think it's only appropriate we go ahead and watch it now, okay? So with that being said, let's do this. Sorry, computer's slow as junk.
I take a hitting in my mind gone. Hello, mommy. Gang. Vet Life. Joe.
Vet Life, you heard? Let's go.
I take a sip and then my mind gone. It's hard to get the picture like an icon if you don't get that shit that I'm on. See, my commitment to music is gonna be lifelong. Peace of mind has no price, I'll be striking like a python. Pin the pad and I'll be striking like some lightning. Use my mic as my trident, causing waves like Poseidon. I'm checking niggas like Nike, I'm going in. Driven off adrenaline and I ain't been able to stop it since I started as a kid. Got better, then my hunger grew bigger while blowing trees and trying to moderate the liquor. Cut the beat up like some scissors, never stop cause I be itching to do it. Highly influenced by this music and the best to ever do it. I got no chill in me. Savage raps coming back to back, snacking like some Cracker Jacks. The beat is guaranteed to slap. Vet Life I'm repping, got it tatted on my right arm. Working for my success while I'm finding these beats to slide on. See no excuses not to do it, eat the beat up. Keep a few in rotation every single time we meet up. We far out of your range, it ain't no way that you can reach us. No sense in playing sensei, it ain't shit that you can teach us. Nah, I'm giving praise to these beats and giving praise to Jesus. Vet Life on that ass, you think we trash, well go ahead and speak up. The meanest duo flipping shit like judo. We kick you in your culo, still you can't figure out how we do it though.
I take a hitting in my mind gone. Rolling up another one cause it's nothing when you puffin' the stuff that I'm on. Light it and I fly on. I've been floating for a minute but I had to hit the ground to get my grind on. We on some shit that they could never be on. Fuck it, them niggas peons thinking they won't get peed on. They raps ain't strong, they need somebody to lean on. They think they ice cold, I'm coming through with the heat on. That's hot shit, but that's mandatory when I'm around. Look around the room when I walk in, they know it's going down. The golden child, forever rolling up and blowing loud. Fuck around with Sandy's only son, you know it's going down. The big Betty, I'm known to flow steady. I feel like Joe Pesci, I'm cold so don't test me. I'm a wild card boy, I'll trip if you'll let me. I've been like so ready, the pen is so hefty. I'm trying to rep something, Dizzle come spot me. I'm hotter than some lava flowing in the fresh by the coffee car. Possibly the hottest out, I'm making moves while you watch me. Knock me if you wanna, but I guarantee it won't stop me, it's Vogue. I take a sipping in my mind gone. I take a hitting in my mind gone. I take a sipping in my mind gone. I take a hitting in my mind gone.
Okay, let's go ahead and block them. Bring this all back up. There it is, the Vet Life Mind Gone music video in its entirety. Shout out to the boys Vet Life, that's TiVo and Diz. Appreciate you guys asking me to help you out on these music videos and also bringing really dope concepts. So for this one, they said they wanted it to feel like a 90s rap music video, right? And so that's all they gave me. They just wanted it to be real rugged about the lyrics and give maybe some of that gritty 90s rap video look like feel. So their idea was to rap in this style of clothing, and I felt like it needed to go a little bit further to be able to sell that 90s vibe, but also have something else to the video that will attract people there. So initially, I was like, we have to do it in a staircase somewhere. We have to find some sort of staircase, just have some of that, chilling in the 90s. We ain't got nowhere else to smoke our blunt vibe, right? And so this is the location right here. Hold on the screen. So this spot right here, this is what we found for the location of the stairwell, right? And then I was like, what else will give me that 90s vibe, right? Well, how about you guys bring 40s and stuff? Since you say you take a sipping and your mind gone, how about what you're sipping on is a 40? And shout out to Diz for being like, yes, 40s will work. And then they were like, we need hoods and scullies and all that stuff. So here they are, scullies, hoods. My man got a sleeveless bubble coat. I mean, what don't say more 90s than sleeveless bubble jacket? But I still needed a little bit further. So what I told them was, what we need to do is to make it square, right? Because back in the 90s, we didn't shoot the widescreen, right? Or at least towards the end of it, we started shooting the widescreen. But towards the beginning of the 90s, it was still in the box. It was still square. So what I did was I used what they call cinema bars. Normally, people cheat and make it look widescreen by putting these fake black bars on the top and black bars on the bottom, right? I, myself included, sometimes cheat that way. And so what we did was we just took those normal Cinebars that you would put on the top and bottom, and I put them on the sides. What it made me do, though, while I was shooting, is it forced me to focus to keep them in the center of the camera because the ends were going to be blacked out. So what I didn't want was them too far apart that when I closed out the ends of the camera, that one of their faces wouldn't show up while the other one would. So I made sure in this area of the staircase, all the footage had them very close to the middle, right? Then on top of that, I took it a small step further and put that VHS recording information on top. That is kind of like that vibe. So that way you got that true 90s feel there, right? But then I knew it needed something else. And so that's when I came up with the duplicate versions of themselves, what they call cloning. So, the multiple clones. At first, I was thinking just set a camera on a tripod and have a motorized spinner that will just slowly spin around, and then I'll just have them reproducing each other as the camera spun around. But the budget didn't allow for me purchasing that piece of equipment, right? The motorized rotator. That way the camera spins at the same pace consistently. There just wasn't enough money in there. So then I thought, well, what if I just placed them in 3 areas in a scene, had them rhyme from 3 different areas in 3 different parts of their verses, and maybe that could help sell it. So let's get to some of this behind the scenes footage here. Do we want to go? Yes, for the time being, we're going to go right here. Let's pull that down. Let's do this. Okay, boom. So this is me setting lights up. Matter of fact, let's not do that. Let's do this and this. This is me setting lights up, right? Pretty standard. As I show up, I got to create my lights. Now, my lights are portable, right? Which is really, really great. So I can take them anywhere and I can set them up outside. I don't need a plug-in. But when I am inside, I use a plug-in. Now, if you'll notice, the light doesn't get pushed towards the subject. What I'm going to do is a technique which is called bouncing. We're going to bounce the light off the top and just lift the overall luminance of the room, right? So this isn't going to create harsh shadows. It's actually going to create a very, very soft light because the light is bouncing, right? You see that? right off the top here, because the light is bouncing, it's going to be more soft when it falls on top of your subject. And so you're not going to get like a harsh shadow on one side of the face. Plus, with cloning multiple people, I needed to make sure that the light was soft. Otherwise we'd see harsh shadows blending from one clone into the next clone, right? So basically, I set that up. I set up the camera, and then the camera does not move. The camera does not move for the first 3 takes. So right here is me filming TiVo on the table, right? And then I cannot, once he finishes the take, I cannot move the camera. Oh, actually, I think right here I started gigging to his music because like he was bopping. And sometimes I find myself doing this. You see this? This is me really digging the track with the artist. And I really think the artist sees it. And it helps them perform better. So if I'm digging the song and I do some little bit of this performance behind the lens, I think they pick up on it and add more to their performance on the front of my lens, right? So then, once again, didn't move the camera whatsoever. Now TiVo is standing back by the fridge, right? And this was key because we wanted to make sure that it looked like there was 3 different versions of him there. So I needed to separate them. And then I also wanted to create more depth. I didn't just want to have one scene of them rhyming in 3 different areas, right? And in order to create depth, what I find is one of the best ways is to film a second take, but make that second take more of a close-up, right? So here's what happens. After I shoot all 3 of those stationary tripod shots, right? Then it becomes time to scoot the camera in and cut off those potential other clones and just focus on one TiVo, right? So this is me moving my camera in those same locations and also getting more of a close-up. That way I can cut between a wide shot of all 3 of them and then a close-up shot of each one of them individually, and that helps create depth. It helps bring the viewer into the footage, and it feels like each one of these 3 are real people because you're zooming into that location that they really are. You're seeing them as a wide screen of all 3 of them, but then you're zooming into individual areas that create that feeling of like, wow, I'm like really in this video with them, right? Shout out to TiVo for killing it, right? And then we had to do the same thing with Diz. So we got him there. Then I also had to show him, I want him standing up, kind of looking over the window. But as the verse gets better and better, I want him just peeking back like, hey man, you starting to rhyme. And then all of a sudden turn into, oh, it's my turn. No, you rhyming so hard. Now it's my turn to rhyme. Right. So once again, did not move the camera. We went from the chair version to now he's standing at the window, and then we got another small version of him standing on sitting on the chair over here, the couch, if you will. Now the idea here is, and then once again, after we filmed them all 3 with the camera stationary, what do? We get back in for those individual close-ups. If you'll notice the light is still bouncing off the top, once again, to keep those shadows to a minimum. Right? Because you don't want one shadow from one take spilling over your cut line into the next take because it won't spill, right? So then we made sure we got a close-up of him standing up, and then the same thing, a close-up with him sitting down. Once again, these close-ups help to sell the fact that you're inside this location with them, right? So wide shot with all 3 of them, and then occasionally we'll jump to a close-up of each individual person. To me, that's just the way to help sell that cloning, because otherwise people just go, oh, it's all 3 of them. There was another thing too that I did that I want to show you, and I can only show you on the beginning here of the video. And it's the first time you see,
I take a hit and then my mind gone.
It's the first time you see them in their locations, all 3. If you'll notice, the camera shot is panning out. Like it's in close and it's got all 3, but it's starting to get wider and wider and wider, right? Well, the idea is when you layer these people, like you put one person here and then you cut out the other person, you put them on top, and you cut out the last person and put them on top. But then you have to composite all three of those. Otherwise, if I make this person start to zoom out, these other two people will stay there and their proportion won't be right. So in order to move them all three together, we do what we call a multi-layer composite. So I set this up, and you'll see in some of the BTS, I cut a little line in between each actor or each version of themselves here. Then I composite it, meaning burn them together. And then whatever I tell this clip that has all three of them, if I tell them to get wide, if I tell them to zoom in, if I tell them to move left and right, it moves all three because we burned all three together, if that makes sense. So I can zoom out here. I can zoom out here and you don't see any difference between it, right? Just a little bit of some of that silly behind the scenes science, you know what I mean? Okay, so here we go. Let's get back to where we were at, which I think I was getting ready to show you guys. Yeah, I was getting ready to show you guys some of the BTS here. So I think I finished. Yeah, finished wrapping, and then we'll get to the screen here. Sorry. Okay, as you'll see, I got all three of them in the photo, right? And they're right here where I'm showing on the screen down here. And now if you remove the top one, boom. If I remove the next one, boom. That's the original layer that we have to start with, right? That is the very original layer. And then what I do is I cut out the guy standing by the window and I put him next. And then the guy sitting on the couch and I put him next. But before we get to that, I thought a quick second to show you the difference in colorage going on here. It depends if there we go. There we go. Turn off the color. There it is. Now really quick, you see that? That's how I film it. Really gray like that. You see that gray? Doesn't seem like it has any contrast in it. The colors are not popping. The whites almost seem a little too gray. That's because I film it flat and then later I add the color like this. Boom. You see that? So we go from gray right here to now color. Boom. Right? Now you can see the difference. The blacks are more thick black. They don't look like a washed black t-shirt or like an ashy black. They look black, right? The browns, they actually have a nice brown texture in them. Now, if you'll notice, his shoes here, his shirt here, hold up, and the little bit of the blue couch, right? They're a little bit dull. So what I went in was added a little color pop to them. And if you'll notice, boom, boom, dull, vibrant, dull, vibrant. It's very, very, very slight. But for me, it just makes the world a different. It really makes his blue pop off the screen. And that's what I wanted to make sure to do. Now, here's an example of what it looks like when I remove each person so you can see how we cut them out, right? So boom, boom, right? So those are where I cut. Those are the cut lines. Those cut lines make it so it looks seamless in the environment. And that's the whole reason you do not move the camera. If you move the camera at all, you will screw those up, right? That's the key. You see that original layer? The very first layer is him rolling the blunt on the table. And then we added in the guy standing here by the fridge and the other version of him sitting by the windowsill, right? Golly, it's just so smart. It's just so smart. And once again, the color for this, ashy, classy, right? Once again, them blacks is ashy. Now they got lotion. And then if you'll notice too, for this one, it didn't have much blue, but I did notice some greens. So they had the green wreath, some grapes or something like that, and a plant on here. So what I went in and did was push the greens and put a green layer where they pop. It's very small and minute, but for me, it really, really, really adds some of that punch and some of that pop. And to me, sometimes that punch and pop separate amateur footage from more of a professional look. And I'm not trying to say I'm professional, but I try to give it more of a professional look, if that makes any sense. So once again, multi-layer composites is how you do cloning, right? You don't move the camera, you film your subject in multiple areas, and then later in post, you draw a small little line and you cut them out. Now, if you want to sell the effect further, you make sure you film a close-up so you can switch back and forth between the wide shot of all of them and the close-ups. So shout out to the Vet Life gang for believing in me on that. TiVo and Diz, in my opinion, they're the best group in town as far as, you know, a group is concerned. They're definitely the best duo in town, but I'm having a hard time trying to think of a group that I find more lyrically pleasing than these brothers. And they represent that old school way of emceeing, you know, lyric ability, being able to perform gymnastics on the track with your verbiage, you know what I mean, instead of, you know what I'm saying, and A's and one word Dr. Seuss cat in a hat ass rhymes. Nah, these brothers put it down. And so that's why I don't have a problem going above and beyond for them. And that's why I release BTS for some of these. I shoot videos all the time, but a lot of them are just trappy on the corner street music videos that all kind of blend together and look alike. So I don't always show you guys every work or every video production that I finish and stuff. But these guys, I knew when filming this one, I was like, yo, I'm going to have to show people how we made it. And matter of fact, we've got two more we're working on. One's shot in the can, and the other one we're still planning a shoot date for. But yeah, those two also have really unique ideas to the music videos that I'd want to showcase. And like I said, since they're talented and that's the type of rhymes and emceeing that I'd be proud to showcase on my channel, then I'm gonna do some BTS for these guys. You know what I mean? What'd you guys think of how we made it? Did we go too overboard, or did we, you know, did we do it justice? I think we did it justice. And once again, you know, I was able to add my flair by adding that multi-layer composite while still being able to achieve that 90s rugged feel that they wanted for themselves as well. If you guys haven't, do me a favor, follow the link in the description to their music video. Go over there and leave a comment for me, okay? Give it a view and then leave a comment for me. Say, you know, set gang for the vet gang, you know what I mean? Because we're set gang and they're the vet gang. So say set gang for the vet gang down in their comments, and I know you're over there doing me a solid, okay? And also, if this is the first time you're watching a video on my channel, so you're not subscribed, you should subscribe, because I'm a music videographer by trade. I usually do reactions, but I also do sometimes behind the scenes reviews of my work. And so if you want to be alerted when that happens, you got to be subscribed to the channel with your notification bells on. You know what I mean? Also, on the way out, make sure you like this video and then do something nice for somebody today. It'll make you feel better. I'll say it again. If you do something nice for someone else, it'll make you feel better. Okay? Appreciate you guys stopping by. I'll catch you guys on the next reaction or review or behind the scenes breakdown. I'll holla. Peace.